Welcome to The Coffee Grind by the Denton Chamber of Commerce, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Good morning, Denton. It is almost 10 a.m. on Wednesday, August 2nd. My name is Travis Veselka. I'm the Director of Membership and Marketing for the Denton Chamber of Commerce, and my co-host is...
My name is Randy Skinner, and I serve as your Chair of Membership and Marketing for the Denton Chamber of Commerce. And as a member, I represent Denton County Friends of the Family. Shout out. And we are excited to have our guest today. So
Yes.
I'll let you take. I think I skipped ahead in the script.
That's okay.
I panicked and I didn't know what to say next, so I just skipped ahead.
You're watching the Chamber Coffee Grind. We're recording live from the DentonRadio.com studio inside of the Denton Discover Denton Welcome Center in beautiful downtown Denton. And we are here to keep you up to date with what's happening in and around the business community of Denton, and to give you updates about Denton Chamber of Commerce events and initiatives coming up. So today we are going to be talking to Dr. Jamie Wilson, who is the superintendent for Denton ISD. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to it this morning.
All right. So we are here to talk about, first of all, how is Denton ISD doing these days?
Well, great question. First of all, we're growing about 1,000 students a year. We're continuing to add schools and bring things into our community. And a couple of really important tidbits from this last school year is our graduating seniors earned a record $23 million in scholarship offers.
Wow.
So we're continuing to push the bar and raise the standard for what our graduates do and what they can be when they leave us. So things are going really well.
My gosh, that
That's
sounds
incredible.
amazing.
You said
Thank you.
23 million in
23
scholarships.
over 23 million in
Good for
scholarship
them.
Wow.
offers. It's outstanding.
Like, y'all need to give likes and comments
Oh,
on
yes.
that for the high fives. We established that a like in Facebook world is like a digital
a
high
high
five.
we're all over high fives and likes. That's
Yeah.
good.
Heart to hugs.
Yes, so give them a shout out. Congrats to all of those students.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So what really brings us together today is to talk about the upcoming tax ratification election.
Absolutely.
A bunch of big words that people don't like to hear about.
Sure.
But I have a feeling that this is actually something of benefit to know for everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And a lot of people don't know and realize that as property values increase in our community for the school district, our local school district does not receive those dollars. That money really stays in Austin and goes to Austin. So as property values go up in Denton ISD, the state sends us less. So the percentage of state funding for our school district is around 31%. And just over 10 years ago, it was up over 60%. So as property values have crept up, state's contribution to local school districts is going down. And so there are only a few ways that you can begin to try to mitigate that as best you can. And without getting too much into school finance,
Sure,
because school finance is on the forefront right now with the special session, right? And so without getting too much into school finance, not all of our tax pennies are of equal value. Some of our pennies are worth more than others. And so our 4 pennies of the tax rate that are above the dollar for the maintenance and operations side of our budget are worth more than the rest of our pennies. And that's in state law. And it's based upon what Austin ISD brings in on their pennies, right? And so that was kind of an equalized wealth distributor, okay? And that's the maintenance and operations side of our budget. So the district actually gets additional funding for those 4 pennies, and we already maximize our use of those 4 pennies with salaries and those kinds of things. About 82% of our budget is in people. Right?
Oh, indeed, yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that we have 3,500 to 4,000 employees, depending on subs and bus drivers and custodians, and an over $200 million payroll.
Wow.
That goes into the local economy, right? That goes to our businesses, that visits our restaurants, the ones here on the square.
Oh, yes.
So those maintenance and operation dollars really do benefit our local economy because teachers bank, they buy cars, they shop, and we want them to do it in Denton. And so, the more we have here, the better it is for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Our tax rate is really in 2 buckets. There's the maintenance and operations side, and then there's the debt service side, which builds our buildings.
Indeed.
Right? And you can't use debt service money for anything that's maintenance and operation related. So utilities or fuel or supplies or materials or teacher salaries, all that's maintenance and operations. Building of buildings, renovations, some technology infrastructure, you can use that debt service rate for. So we can get access to 2 more pennies that maximize state funding, but our voters have to approve that.
It's
okay?
like a literal 2 cents.
It's 2 cents. So the state law says we can get 6 cents of value for that equalized wealth. And so what we're proposing and what the board did was they called for a tax ratification election on September the 9th, which we're asking voters to approve a 2-cent tax increase on the maintenance and operations side,
Okay.
while the trustees are going to decrease the debt service tax rate by 2 cents.
So just translating 2
move it
cents over.
2 cents over, so the total ad valorem tax rate will be $1.54. The ad valorem tax rate is going to be $1.54 whether the TRE passes or fails.
Right.
The benefit to the school district is Austin has to send us an additional approximately $4 million, right? Plus we generate about another $4 million locally, right? So it's about a $7.9 to $8 million benefit
Wow.
to the school district on the maintenance and operations side of the budget without an increase to taxpayers on the tax rate. Now,
Indeed.
I understand that property values make people's taxes go up, right? And I know that Denton ISD is the largest portion of that property tax bill. I pay them just like everybody else does. Okay, so when you see that, you begin to think, well, can't the district lower the taxes, right, and still get the same amount of money? Well, because of those 6 pennies, right? That's the $1, $2, $3, $4. And if whenever you go down, if you start to reduce it, you're actually allowing the state to keep more of your dollars, as opposed to having them here locally.
Put them back into
and
the
bringing
community.
them back into the community. So the board called for the tax ratification election. The ad valorem tax rate will be $1.54 whether it passes or fails. If it passes, it's another $8 million approximately to the local community with regard to salaries and utilities and supplies and those things. If it doesn't, it's still going to be $1.54, and everybody's tax bill is still going to be the same.
Indeed.
So it sounds like there's kind of a lot of variables that play into this, the tax ratification, into the finances in general. So if somebody were wanting to dig in, learn a little bit more, had additional questions,
Sure.
Maybe we couldn't solve all the questions in this,
Indeed.
15-minute segment we have here.
Right.
Where would they go? What could they do, Jamie?
What we'll do is we will be using social media and putting some things out in the next few weeks via Twitter. We'll do little video snippets with a link where people can dive in and get additional information.
Perfect.
And that way people can educate themselves and learn how those things are working all the way throughout. Since we're growing about 1,000 students a year, that is about a school a year in construction, right? The state doesn't contribute any dollars on that side of the tax rate at all. So that's all local taxpayer on their shoulders, right? And the kids are coming, and when the area grows, we know they don't bring roads. We know they don't bring water infrastructure with them.
Yes.
Nor do they bring their classrooms.
Right.
And so it's one thing for us to build the classrooms on that debt service side, but then the maintenance and operations side is really how we can get the highest quality people for them. So, but it'll be to our website, and we'll use it all through social media to get things out there to our community, and that way they can get as much information as they can.
That's
Awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, you've managed to take a very boring topic and kind of drill it down into very essential pieces.
Well, and there's lots of specifics and there's lots of different ways into it, but the bottom line is this.
Yes.
The ad valorem tax rate is going to be $1.54 whether the TRE passes or fails.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us your 2 cents
You bet.
about it.
I like it, but
pretty good. I like that.
All right. So thank you, by the
Thank
way,
you for having me.
sharing that information with us.
Yeah, and thanks for, kind of putting it into a little bit of a bite-sized pieces, because it is, if you're outside of that world, right, like it affects us all, whether you have kids now that are in the school system or eventually you are, it affects
your
us all
future
right
employees.
now. Yeah,
Right.
future employees and, businesses. And so it's hard to gain an understanding of something if you're not in the grind
Right.
every day.
That's
and
right.
so really appreciate you
Thank
just
you.
kind of bringing that insight. And then, of course, just really big applause to your leadership and to the school
you.
Oh,
board for
yes.
everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I think that we've learned when we had, was it Mario that we had on,
Mario,
right? That y'all's district has gone above and beyond in really creating a good line of communication with the community. And I'm in marketing, right? So I love that utilizing the tools where people are communicating, like Twitter and social media, is such a prevalent piece of y'all's toolkit. Very, very grateful. So good job. Good job.
All right. We're going to talk about upcoming chamber events at this point, and
what do we have upcoming?
We like to start out with the ribbon cuttings. So
Okay.
we're going to talk about Bone Daddy's Barbecue. So we talked about them last time, but they are doing a re-grand opening of their store. They've got a band. They'll have tastings, food, drinks, and it's going to be a VIP party where proceeds will benefit Serve Denton. And I just want to point out that Bone Daddy's has a particular set of branding for all of their stores, and Denton is the only one that is a different brand for this particular restaurant. So I would highly encourage
they've
everybody to go out
rebranded
there.
to be more
and
like
see.
family friendly,
Oh
right?
yeah, so
Like,
everybody is welcome. They have a wonderful patio. I mean, the
They have
interior
a drink
is really
if
well
you like
designed.
cocktails.
Mhm.
They have a drink.
And who doesn't?
And
like
who
cocktails?
does, well, but they have a drink that they bring out, and it's on fire. And so when I was there for Denton Young Professionals, we had a mixer there, and I was like, oh, I want to try something different, right?
Mhm.
And so she's like, okay, we have this. I was like, sounds good. She brought it out and didn't tell me it was not flaming. And so she brought it out. I was like very overwhelmed with my drink choice, but also it was pretty cool. So I don't remember what it's called, but
Did
I'm
you
pretty
put your
sure
name in the goblet of fire?
exactly. So they've really done a great job with their rebrand, and they have a really cool patio.
Yeah.
And you said they're gonna have a band, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So check out the website for more details. That would be denton-chamber.org, and find it on the events calendar. And then we have some chamber events that are coming up. We have a sort of a monthly series of networking meetings. One is a breakfast, the other is a lunch, and they alternate every other month. And for this month, it'll be Business Over Breakfast.
Who's coming?
It'll be Dr. Wilson, in fact,
Thank you.
to talk about the tax ratification election in more depth. So if you want more details and you're a chamber member, you are more than welcome to come to this Business Over Breakfast, where we will hear more in depth about how all of this stuff works.
Will there be time for Q&A at that breakfast?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
bring your questions. Bring
yeah.
really hard ones.
So that's
I
going to
think
happen.
he's up for the challenge.
So that's going to happen Friday, August 11th, starting at 7:45 in the morning. And I forgot to say, the Bone Daddy's Barbecue ribbon cutting will be Thursday, August 10th at 4 p.m. So chamber events, we've got a membership mixer coming up. This one is hosted and sponsored by Guarantee Bank and Trust, and they'll be at their Wind River location. So that's at 3101 Wind River Lane.
What is that by? Which location is that?
The Unicorn Lake.
Okay, the Unicorn Lake location. So over there, like kind of by Beth Marie's and the Cinemark?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And then they're going to be celebrating the end of summer with a chamber mixer. They'll have food, fun, beverages, and Blake's Snow Shack is going to be out there. So shout out Blake's Snow Shack.
Awesome.
Like I said, Thursday, August 17th, 5 to 7. And then we have a Smart Business 101. So Smart Business 101 is our monthly sort of lunch and learn series. And this focuses on smart business for the small business. It's going to be at the Denton Chamber office. That's at the corner of Carroll and Parkway. And Justin Shelley, the CEO of Master Computing, is going to divulge trade secrets in the second of a two-part series on your business's data security and protection to guarantee zero viruses and zero data loss. It's a guarantee that's unheard of in the IT industry, and it'll be free for members or $15 for non-members.
Awesome.
Next week, that's not next week. When is that?
July 25th.
No, I didn't change the date. So that'll be August 20-something.
Look,
It's at the end of the month.
we just had a blip on dates, and we haven't had one yet, so
Right.
everybody gets one.
Yeah.
So y'all all just go to denton-chamber.org and look it up yourself.
Yeah,
How
find it
about
on the
that?
calendar.
All right, find it on the
Be good.
calendar. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good, I
That
promise.
part we guarantee. And lunch is covered, right?
Lunch
so
is
Smart
covered.
Business 101. You can come, show up, like bring a friend, and definitely RSVP because when it's a good speaker, I know I've come before because I didn't RSVP, and all the seats were taken. So
So,
and you're
but
like
yes.
waiting outside, like awkwardly. I'm sorry, I'm irresponsible and didn't RSVP.
Alrighty, and so Randy, what have we got going on out in the community?
Yes. So on the Denton Chamber website, there is always a place for you to post your community events. And all too often, we don't really give too much of a shout out of benefit of being a chamber member. And having the accessibility of the website and this back-end portal is one of those. And so you're able to go and post any event that you have going on, whether it's a nonprofit that you volunteer with, a mentoring program that you do through Denton ISD, or an exciting happening of your business or a sale, like whatever it looks like. You can post all of that as part of your membership. And so we went and pulled one of the community events that we have posted to give a shout out to. And that is the Barbecue Beats and Brews that will take place August 12th through 13th. Man, they're partying hard. It's going to start at 3 p.m. on the 12th and go till 1 a.m. on the 13th. So you can go by the Bearded Monk.
It's at the Bearded Monk.
And they have an annual barbecue. And Nice Dude Servicing Craft is going to have some printed T-shirts. Serve Denton, it's going to benefit Serve Denton, and they'll be picking up some of the extra treats. So y'all go out to Bearded Monk over there right behind East Side, next to Denton County Brewing Company. It's like a sweet little trio right there. You can make like a good, is that a Friday night? I don't know what the 12th is, but
I think it's Saturday.
So a fun night. Like it'll be at 3 p.m. totally kid friendly. So like bring your kiddos. It is. It's kid
Up
friendly.
until a certain time.
9 p.m. We're all gonna judge you. Just like throwing it out there.
Bermuda Triangle. I like that.
The Bermuda Triangle. So there you go. Essential info on the upcoming election. Oh, Jeff gives a shout out to you for bringing that info.
Nice. Alrighty. So you can find more information about these events by checking out the events calendar. Again, that's denton-chamber.org, and click on the events tab.
Awesome.
Alrighty. So to close out today's episode, we
prepared fun
question. Okay.
Because we can't just have a question that's not prepared because it gives Travis anxiety.
It does. It really does.
So we have to prepare the question. So what was our prepared fun question of today?
Let's see. What kind of Denton connections?
Yeah, so like we heard, like you've got like 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like 5 degrees of Jamie Wilson, and as far as being connected to Denton. So like tell us this story.
Well, first of all, I was born at Flo Hospital, which I used to know where the window is, but now it's an apartment.
Oh, so you're a Flo baby. Got it.
That's exactly right.
Flo baby.
I met my wife on Fry Street at State Club Bar and Grill when we were in college.
Very nice.
Fry Street. All right.
That's that was a long-term establishment in the 80s and early 90s in Denton, and it's the proprietors are still in the area.
Okay.
That's awesome.
In fact, they have different kinds of State Club chicken tenders on the menu and little Denton history and those kinds of things.
Fun. Which restaurant
awesome.
is it?
It's J. Macklin's. It's in Coppell. So
they've moved outside of Denton,
but
we
they
can
keep the Denton
still
spirit alive.
Right.
Love it.
It's great. They keep it going, and they've always given back to the community and back to university and those kinds of things. So
awesome.
it's a great community, a great place to live. And my wife graduated from Denton High School, and then 30 years later, my youngest daughter graduated from Denton High School. So there's lots of long-time Denton connections here.
Like
That's
true
awesome.
Dentonites.
Were any of the teachers the same teachers?
I don't know for her. When I did my student teaching at Denton High School, absolutely, they were.
Oh,
wow. They were some of my wife's teachers when she was in
That's
high
cool.
school. In fact, just this last year, Georgianne Burlage, who was a longtime history teacher at Ryan High School, retired, and she was my supervising teacher when I taught Texas history at Strickland Middle School. So Miss Burlage was an influence to me and has been around this community for a long time. So it's great to see it all continue to be Denton.
Yes.
But as we're growing and trying to Dentonize everyone that comes into our community is the fun part.
That is the
That's
fun
really
part.
That's
cool.
exactly right.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, Jason said yay to our prepared fun question.
Yes, always the fun question that's prepared.
All kinds of props.
Alrighty, so on that note, I want to thank our guest today, Dr. Jamie Wilson, Denton ISD Superintendent, for coming in and discussing the tax ratification election that's going to be coming up on September 9th. Also, thank you to DentonRadio.com for their support in the production of the Chamber Coffee Grind. For more information about the Denton Chamber of Commerce, you can check us out at www.denton-chamber.org. And if you're interested in membership, you can certainly reach out to me. Follow and friend us on social media, and remember to tune in every other Wednesday at 10 a.m.
See you all in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.